Welcome everyone, welcome into today's Q&A, She Strong group coaching call, and we have today topic that will be definitely relatable to all of us and hopefully helpful as well. We want to cover navigating sleep deprivation as an active mom. So what can we do, how to adjust training, how to prioritize our well-being, and also make sure that it doesn't take over completely our muscle recovery. Again, that's our priority, should be our priority, or within our She Strong coaching, that's what we're focusing on, because we know that as a woman and as a moms, we need to try to do our best to just work on muscle mass, train lifting weights, eat appropriately, fitness goals, basically what to do so we can stay on a track, support our body, feel good, and still stay in some kind of routine. Now, sleep deprivation is obviously part of our life as a moms, and it will be for multiple years probably. No one knows. It's different for everyone. We all have different experience with sleep deprivation, how our baby is sleeping and not sleeping. But there is one thing for sure, and it's hard. I remember our worst phase was at 6 months and year and a half. These two phases I remember very clearly. It was absolute hell. Yeah, I know how it feels to really don't sleep multiple days and weeks in a row, and that's why I want to share with you some tips and strategies how to make it work a little bit, because again, we don't want to focus on being perfect with specific things and trying to micromanage. We always want to look at bigger picture. As a moms who have fitness goals and are active and train, we need to be able to see the bigger picture and always focus on that bare minimum we can do to support ourselves, our bodies, our well-being, our health, our goals, our babies, and just feel at least a little bit better if that's possible. And yeah, so let's talk about it. There is obviously a few things I want to go through. Firstly, what actually can we do in terms of training? So some training adaptation as well, and then little habits overall, what you can focus on. We always have to think about we need to be a little bit of proactive as well, because sleep deprivation, we will be sleep deprived. There will be always some phase, yeah. And we can't plan that, even though you're gonna have million guides and books on baby's development, and it never be exactly as it's in the book. Your journey will be different, and we always need to learn have some sort of structure and mainly know what to do, what to focus on. That's why you are here, to learn what to prioritize and understand actually what the sleep deprivation means to you specifically, to your health, recovery, your fitness goals, because more you understand, then it can be a little bit easier to know what you should focus on around these seasons, periods, phases. What actually sleep deprivation looks like and means, and what's happening physiologically in your body. Let's talk about firstly cortisol. So it's our stress hormone, and that's elevated during postpartum. Yeah, during motherhood, that's no secret. We experiencing completely different levels and situations of stress, and on top of that, sleep deprivation raises the cortisol even more. So this is related to, nervous system dysregulation, and then further, if we're talking specifically being active and trained, harder recovery. It inhibits muscle protein synthesis, which is the process that helps you to build and maintain muscle, which is essentially what we're trying to do. It then makes it harder for you to, for example, change your body composition, lose fat, because your body is in that alert mode, that danger mode, when it's just trying to protect you and try to hold on to your fat, for example. So that's why many moms struggling with that stubborn belly fat, for example. It's all related to hormones. Sometimes it's not related to, or basically all of the times, it's not related to that you don't do enough cardio and you eat too much. It's related to completely deeper issues. not just for training to look good, but for longevity mainly. Yeah, that's really like we're talking about completely different goals after we become 30 years old, and especially after we become moms. And muscle recovery is affected negatively, unfortunately, if we are sleep deprived as well, because during the sleep there is the growth hormone released that helps with the muscle tissue repair and growth and so many other things. And if we are sleep deprived, we obviously, our body releasing less of this hormone. The next thing would be appetite hormones, and this is a huge thing. When we are sleep deprived, our body releases more hunger hormone called ghrelin, and it suppresses the opposite hormone of satiety, leptin. So that's why when you are sleep deprived, you most likely know this feeling of cravings, really like that hunger when you eat something and you feel like you didn't eat anything, you really are hungry. That's that feeling when your body is really just seeking, asking for some kind of form of energy, and most likely because it's depleted, it's, sleep deprived, it wants quick energy. And we know that our bodies get energy mainly from carbohydrates. That's why we crave those simple carbs, sugar, sweets, biscuits, chocolate, or even like the high palatable foods, like anything junk food. This is a huge thing, and this is first main thing that I see moms struggling with, and that's why we want to be a little bit more proactive, especially with this one, to make sure we eat actually a little bit better, focus on that eating, not let us to just have a fucking moment, say, oh, I just didn't sleep, I'm gonna just smash my box of biscuits here, instead of like focusing on actually nourishing your body. Next thing is insulin sensitivity. So insulin is basically sensitivity. It's how your body works with carbohydrates, how it uses for energy. Due to sleep deprivation, insulin sensitivity can be affected in negative way, which means your body is just like not dealing with carbohydrates really well, and then that's why we see you store more food or carbohydrates in general, energy, as a fat. This is something way more deeper than just like eating less and training more. Next, we're talking about mental performance. So you definitely know yourself, like the mom brain, it's a real thing. The overwhelm, the overstimulation, it's constant. And when we are sleep deprived, it can be even harder because like decision making, emotional regulation, you are just tired, irritable. And that all affects not just your mood, but your food choices, parenting, we can have a little snap, and also like work in general. So this is something to be aware of as well. And we want to make sure we support our body somehow so we can deal with it a little bit better and feel a little bit better. We have to understand that again, just a few nights of sleep deprivation really compounds, yeah? So that's why we want to be proactive and do something instead. Focus on something we can do for our bodies if we can't sleep. Let's talk about first training, what to do, how to adjust, what to kind of keep in mind. Is actually bad decision to train, or is it good, and what type of training you should prioritize? If you are experienced, you strength train, basically lifting weights in the gym, you most likely know that this training is not something like high intensity workouts. It's kind of challenge for your body. It's kind of putting some stress on your body, but it's still different way of fatigue than when we do high intensity classes, running, spinning class, all these kind of things that most moms I see do. Because for whatever reason, most of the time is because they just, don't have to think about what to do. They don't know what to do. They just want to do something, and that's why, they think they burn so much calories, etc. In terms of sleep deprivation, I would say that still do something beats not doing anything at all. Even if you take few minutes, even if it's gonna be 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, some kind of movement still can help you with mood, can boost a little bit of your energy levels, can help you with circadian rhythm regulation, the nervous system regulation, can support the muscle mass, which is again our goal. So if we are not able to build and train hard progressively to build muscle, we want to at least work towards to maintain the lean mass. It doesn't have to be all in session. We have to understand this one thing. Training is not always about get everything out of you all the bit if you have last piece of energy. Sometimes, and especially like if you're talking about postpartum training, it's really about just show up, do something, be present, do it for your mental health. Take a little stretch, just move your body, lift weights. It doesn't have to be necessarily pushing towards PBs, etc. It can be something just to really maintain and show up. The training itself has huge benefits for mental health. It really helps you to get out of your head, helps with that mood, and actually at the end of the day with a little bit of energy. Less is better than nothing, but there are obviously a few things we want to understand and see in a situation where we are at, what's actually the best decision to go for. If we decide to go for training, if you decide to go and show up, do some session, we can adjust the volume, intensity to match our actual energy levels. And again, like, you don't have to always go all in hardcore session. You just have to think about what's actually more beneficial for you at this time when you are sleep deprived. We can use something like a traffic light framework where we actually ask ourselves, okay, so how I'm actually feeling, how much did I sleep? If you slept reasonably, you can obviously go on with your training as planned. If you feel tired, maybe just last night wasn't really great or whatever happened, you can reduce the volume. Also, you can do shorter training, less reps, less sets, lighter weights. And then if you're actually going through some period of sleep deprivation, multiple days and weeks when you actually right, running on fumes, barely functioning, this is the time when you actually might benefit from going for a walk, do some active recovery, mobility session, just stretching, if you can have more sleep. In terms of strength training, actually, we would always prioritize, again, resistance training over cardio. Cardio actually can put more fatigue on your body compared to strength training. Strength training is more adaptive, helps to preserve the muscle mass, again, which is our goal, and helps with better hormonal fluctuations, hormonal profiles, adaptations to the stress. So strength training is the way to go compared to definitely cardio, and specifically these high intensity classes that most moms prioritize most of the time. I see that. I work in the gym, I work with moms, I see them there, and we need to kind of change that. We need to get informed what's better option for our body if we are active, if we want to stay active, we want to stay fit, but we go through these phases. Also, like, think about what is your normal routine. Are you training more in the evening, more in the morning? If you, for example, train in the morning and that night wasn't really great, can you actually have a little lie-in, like maybe it's actually a better decision. Or if you are training in the evening, sometimes like it's actually better to go to the bed earlier, for example, because at the end of the day, as I said already, no matter how tired you are, if you're gonna have a little training session, it actually boosts your energy level. You might feel actually wire it off and then go through really shit sleep and whatever happens that next night. So let's think about it again. How was your day? How many days it's been going on? How are you actually feeling when you are training? What you can do to adjust. Now let's move to nutrition. Big part, the most important part. So nutrition, as I already mentioned, our appetite hormones are affected big time the way we don't want to. So that's why we feel cravings, hunger. You definitely know that feeling. Like, it's sometimes very unbearable. Like, you are just like, oh my God, give me everything. Especially, for example, if you're breastfeeding, it can be really uncontrollable. But that's the situation where we want to be proactive and do something to be able to manage this a little bit better. Yes, it's fine. Like, it will happen. I'm not saying you can't have snacks, but we want to make sure we nourish our body. The body is depleted, and having some kind of prep meals, focusing on actual macronutrients and what you are eating can benefit your body way more than just eating whatever, skip, or just like some snacks that you find at home. So expect cravings, because this is most likely gonna happen. So now you know that why you are hungry. That's absolutely normal physiological response of your body for sleep deprivation, stress, fatigue. You probably will be hungrier. You can prepare. There are a few things that my clients benefit. Firstly is they have freezer and they have some prepared meals in the freezer for these specific situations. I used to do it in early postpartum. Before my son was born, I cooked a few meals, some pumpkin soup, stews, feel like that full portion of like 3-4 meals, and actually it lasted me for a good while, and at the end of the day I was actually using it specifically during these days, because normally during the day I was just like I was doing my normal meal prep when I just have my meal in a fridge, something like quickly to go or finish. But when I needed something really just ready that I just put to microwave, these came very handy. Like I said, just having something quickly to get it down, like we always talk in my coaching, She's Strong, having some protein sources pre-cooked, whether it's chicken breast, whether you have some cans of tuna, when you have some boiled eggs on the side, or normal eggs, like just something you can grab, cottage cheese, you can make quick snack in 10 minutes max. That would be second option. Overall, we want to focus on protein. So like always, I'm repeating about protein all the time. I sometimes feel like they have to be fed up of me, but still, the reason why I'm repeating and why I'm talking about protein so much is not just because it's hype overall these days. It's because every single mom that comes to me is struggling to eat protein. And this is what makes a huge difference. We have to understand what the protein is. We were talking about protein specifically in the first group coaching call. So if you haven't heard that, definitely you can rewatch it or listen to it again. We were talking about specifically the benefits for postpartum moms, how to get it. Go on a rewatch, but protein will be priority because specifically with sleep deprivation, it helps with that blood sugar regulation, helps with that ghrelin hormone, that hunger hormone, helps to regulate your hunger cues, and makes you feel full, more satiated. And again, it helps with muscle protein synthesis, maintain the lean muscle mass, all the process around body composition, training, recovery. It would be probably the main anchor, I would say, in terms of nutrition. Then just make sure you eat enough. If you are hungry, don't be afraid to have a little bit more of food. Have actual food, focus on that protein. It's way better to have a little bit bigger portion than you normally have, but have actual meal that you will eat, you will feel satiated, then just keep going on snacks for whole day. Important thing I would say here is definitely don't focus on fat loss and weight loss. Inside of my coaching, fat loss, it's like a topic I discuss with my moms, but I never let my early postpartum moms to diet. That's a big red flag for me. If you want to do it, I'm not coach for you. I want you to feel good and be healthy. So all my early postpartum clients, they first go this phase where we're really focusing on that blood sugar regulation, gut health, making sure you're recovering well, you are supported during these phases, get sleep deprivation. And then it depends on if you're breastfeeding or if you're not breastfeeding, what situation you are, if you are actually allowed, let's say it this way, to start some calorie deficit and putting your body under another stress. But in general, this is advice for moms who don't work specifically with someone, because I see it all the time when I read different forums and discussions and posts. Every mom or all these posts I always see is just about help me to lose weight, early postpartum fat loss, help me to lose my mom pooch. This is all what moms like trying to do, and we have to really understand like it's way more than just eating less and doing more. We have to focus on the right things, give yourself time, build that strong foundation, make sure your body is thriving, and then the body composition in the first place will follow itself without you need to like focusing on starving yourself and doing extra cardio. So that will be just like a side tip in terms of like a nutrition, especially if we go through this early postpartum and these phases of sleep deprivation. Fat loss, calorie deficit is a big no. You do more harm to yourself than good. Let's come back to actual nutrition tips. Have some practical snacks. So snacking, it's one of the favorite things of moms to do. So snacking is fine, but understand how to snack the way that actually it benefit you and your body. It can be those little things like Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, some kind of healthy bakes, whatever you do. If you bake something for your child, some muffins, pancakes, these things, you can still make the way. You can put a little bit of Greek yogurt for yourself. You can put some protein powder for yourself to have a little bit of extra protein. Don't try to cook separately for yourself and for kids. Make it easier for you, especially if you go through these seasons. But healthy snacks make them nutrient dense. Focus again on the protein, prioritize the same like it would be normal meal. In terms of caffeine, let's talk about coffee drinking because yes, we live on caffeine a lot. But use it strategically. Don't drink it all day long. I would definitely say don't drink it after 1, 2 p.m. max. Yeah. Because what actually happens, you have your first coffee in the morning, and then let's say you actually don't even eat. That's why you're experiencing huge energy crash later in the afternoon because you didn't eat, or if you had some just snack, the blood sugar spikes and crash happens. Then obviously your caffeine in your bloodstream after by that 1, 2 p.m. can drop again. And that's why you feel like really tired afternoon and just feeling shit and craving again. So be mindful of caffeine. If you drink a lot of coffee in the first, I would just have it in that first half of the day. Don't go beyond 2 p.m. because again, you will definitely feel the effect. Even though you don't feel it, you don't realize it, it's affecting your sleep later on. And that's what we don't want to, especially if you are like not sleeping properly. So be mindful. And hydration, make sure you drink a lot of water. This was something I used to struggle a lot. I was able to have 3 coffees in the morning, and then I realized I didn't have a single sip of water. Just drink a lot of water. It makes so much difference to your fatigue, energy levels, dehydration. We just have to drink water, and then even twice more if you are breastfeeding again. Super important. That's the one habit that so many people like don't understand how important it is to drink a lot of water. It's so important. And again, I'm telling you, 90% of people who comes to me, work with me, they drink maybe like a liter of water a day. It's absolutely nothing. You need to make sure you drink plenty of water. As female, I wouldn't drink less than 2.5 liters. If you're breastfeeding, 3.5. Even more, like this would be really bare minimum. And people still struggling to drink that even. Like, again, those are the habits we want to look at. Yeah, like bigger picture. These are those little things that make difference over time. Now, what we can do, how to optimize broken sleep. Firstly, I want to say one thing, and that's following different kind of sleep trainings and routines. And I had experience to work with few moms that I really saw that they felt they have to follow specific routines, sleep trainings, and they just really felt like this is like what I have to do it, like I need to, everything has to be perfect. My child needs to go sleep at this time. My child has to eat at this time. And my child has to nap at this time. I'm not here to give you parenting advice at all. But I just want to tell you that make sure for whatever approach you go for and choose to do, especially if you're talking about sleep and that sleep training, make sure you are not burning on that even more. It's not made for you to feel even more stress. A lot of times what happens with these sleep trainings, and again, I haven't done it myself because I just didn't want to. I had no point for me to do it. I was breastfeeding for a whole year, and for us, the best thing that worked was co-sleeping. My son was sleeping with me since he was born, or since not straight from since he was born, but I was working from 6 months postpartum, early mornings when I had to wake up at 4 a.m. to work. And for me, really the easiest way to get some sleep was to have him with me in the bed. And that's what, helped me as well. He got sleep. Everybody got sleep. Like, we actually did pretty well with this, and I'm not saying that you need to do it the same way. As I said, I'm not here to give you parenting advice. I just want to make sure that whatever choice you do and go for, it's not burning you out even more. These approaches are here for you always to find what works for you. And there is a million different things. It doesn't mean that someone does it this way, it will work for you. But I'm saying that because I've seen so many times few moms be really trying really hard to hang on some approach that they just thought they have to do because that's what we do in 2026, and it really didn't benefit them. It didn't benefit their overall well-being because they were extremely stressed that their child didn't sleep at this exact minute, or they were late or they had to do something else. Like, kids used to live without it before, and parents manage without these different approaches before as well. Do what works for you. Next, about optimizing your sleep, let's focus on sleep environment. So how's your room look like? dark, cool room is a little bit better than like actually warm. Make sure your baby, if you're sleeping with you, always have appropriate, clothing. Make sure you have like a dark blackout blinds as well. Really helps. I would for sure try to get some wind down routine. As a mom, it's unrealistic to have some kind of 10-step bed routine. I don't do it. I don't have time for it either. Really, trust me, before I became mom, I had morning routine, I had evening routine, I was journaling and I was meditating. Now these days I don't have time for it. For me, really unwind in the evening means to be able to have warm shower without noise. So if it's possible, I'm alone, even if it's for just 5 minutes, even if I can lie down on a sofa and for 5 minutes, if I can read one page of the book, if I can, sometimes I use my red lamp, really rarely, but trying to do it. Definitely one tip that I'm telling you and I'm begging you to do is to stop scrolling at night. This is the worst thing. And I used to do a lot when I was breastfeeding. When I was breastfeeding, I had nothing else to do, so I was just scrolling. And it can make you wired as hell. So try to really switch off. There won't be any beautiful bed night routine, hygiene, skincare, whatever, 1 hour before bed. But if you can do at least a little bit to take a big breath, get a little bit present in your body, let go everything, also in your mind, what else you have to do, just leave it there and go slowly, unwind, ready for sleep. That's really helpful. The best is, in my opinion, to do some reading. And what I do actually, instead of like a meditation or something, when I go to the bed, when I lie down, I lie on my back and I try to, before I actually fall asleep, to take a few deep breaths, really deep breaths to my belly, to my chest, to my head, try to like scan my body and try to really take big exhale, just really relax, let it go. This is definitely what you can do very easily. Few rounds of breathing and it definitely helps with nervous system regulation. Supplements, magnesium glycinate, something really I would recommend to have. Helps with sleep quality, cortisol and recovery as well, like after training. So definitely magnesium glycinate is a supplement to go for moms and women in general. You can have some nap strategy if you can schedule some nap during the day. I'm type of person who I just can't sleep during the day. And I know like so many times I was so tired and I could go for sleep. Like, you know yourself, if you're a mom, there's always something to do. But be honest with yourself. If this is some kind of period when you just don't sleep at all, maybe have a little nap is the better option at this time. So try to like really be strategic. See like, do I really need to do all these things I want to do? Is maybe go to sleep, have a little nap, maybe it's a better option. So really lowering the standards for this season. It's not forever, but like being good parent and athlete at the same time, you really want to be able to have the rational thinking a little bit, what's the best option for you right now. What I do personally when I'm sleep deprived, when you go through some kind of phase, I typically go to the gym, and when I get there, I see how I'm feeling. I either do mobility, stretching. Sometimes I might do just like a treadmill walk. If, for example, I know I won't go for a walk later on during the day. And if I train, I just really like go mindful. I don't push it. I'm just like, okay, I just don't feel great. I'm not gonna push it at all at every cost. And then typically I like to go for a walk. Again, it helps just with the mood, overall energy, get some fresh air. It makes the day go a little bit faster. And I try to go to bed earlier. That's my really like rule. I know it might be boring, but because again, my work, a few times per week I have to wake up really early, and especially the night before, I definitely go to the bed early. And if I need, I just, I go to sleep with my son. Like, I don't care. Like if I need to, it helps me, really to get that first half of the night really good sleep. Because again, we have to think about the actual quality of the sleep is sometimes more important than the length. That's why we're talking about the sleeping environment, what we can do to feel better in bedroom, the unwind bed routine, how we can kind of de-stress a little bit, calm down before we go to actual sleep. These all things helps with that sleep quality, which is actually important more than the length itself. Sometimes you might get 5 hours of really good sleep, And then sometimes you might get 9 hours of shit sleep when you are constantly awake. So there is a huge difference. And that's something I definitely do. And then lastly, it's always the meal prep. If I know I'm sleep deprived, I already know I'm gonna be hungry that day. So I eat what I eat normally. I meal prep my meals, and I have a little bit bigger portions. For example, if I have morning oats, I have, for example, more oats in the morning, etc. So these are the little tips how to adjust as a mom athlete. So you, like always, prioritize your health and well-being and longevity, and still staying on track. We don't have to be perfect. We won't be perfect. This is not season to be perfect. No one is perfect at the end of the day. And really, moms and all athletes who are successful postpartum, always looking at the bigger picture, thinking about what they can do that day, the bare minimum. If everything goes wrong, what you can do to support yourself a little bit. If it's just drink that water, or just have a little bit some small walk that day, that's perfect. If it's everything you could do, it's still something that your body benefits from. Lastly, let's just understand that sleep deprivation is physiological stressor, and it has consequences for our training, nutrition, mental health, and it's not managed by pushing harder, pushing through it. It's managed by those rational, smart choices and adjustments. So if I would say, definitely use the traffic light framework, see how you're feeling, and adjust accordingly based on that. And the best advice for me is always the nutrition part. This will always make the huge difference. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I chat to you in the next one.